All right, get started with our warm-up and some stretches just to increase range of motion, get your body warmed up. But a couple of things that I wanted to go over with how and why we engage our core and our glutes so that you can incorporate those principles, not just in these movements, but also anytime you're doing a workout. Keeping these in mind is super important because the core and the glutes are really where all of our movement originates, where our power and our strength really come from. They have a lot of endurance, they're very protective against injury, so understanding how to utilize those correctly and developing that muscle memory is going to improve your outcomes across the board, whether it's preventing injury, strength, all of those things, mobility. So a couple of things to practice. Anytime that we talk about engaging the core, what that means is we have this entire system of muscles in our abdominal cavity, and they all serve different functions, but they all work together synergistically. So anytime we think about a core exercise, we don't usually have a lot of context for what that means, but really our core is meant to support our body from the frontal plane. So if you stand to the side and you just drew a line down the side of your body, you would see that the core muscles, right, especially the lower abdominals, they keep our body upright. So we're always just trying to protect ourselves, right, from falling, we're working against gravity. So the core really supports us in that sense from the front. And so the way that we have to engage the core is always against gravity. And to develop that idea of what it feels like to utilize the core and engage in it is something that you can do all the time pretty much, and should become a habit, right? It improves your posture, it actually improves your breathing, protects your lower back. I always tell my clients to envision pulling their belly button in toward their spine. And it's not a really strenuous contraction, right? A really hard pull in. It's very much a gentle, pulling that, especially the lower abdominals, in toward your spine. And as soon as you do that, you'll notice that your chest sort of drops, your shoulders drops. You'll notice that your hip flexors will open, which most everybody has tight or overactive hip flexors. So when you do that movement, right, you pull your belly button in, and it's not like you're putting on really tight pants, right? It's a very gentle motion. So you're still breathing comfortably, you're relaxed, but you're engaging those muscles in a way that promotes correct body mechanics. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. And the second thing is when we are using our glutes. So everybody knows how important, right? We build our glutes, we do squats, right? We do lunges. But no, it's not really explained to us why we utilize those exercises, and more importantly, how, and really what the glutes do. So the glutes, again, we talk about the core sort of supporting us from the frontal plane, right, as we're standing. And in turn, the glutes support us from the back. So the glutes are almost like a big anchor, and they sort of pull us upright, right? So if our glutes are weak and they're not active and they're not being utilized, what happens is we often end up leaning forward, flexing from the hip. That strains the lower back, and that's the cause of a lot of back pain. So when we target and develop the strength of the glutes, the stability of the glutes in a variety of ways, they are very protective of the back. Also, that helps improve your posture. It pulls you upright. It keeps you from collapsing forward, which lots of us just sort of collapse forward just based on, right, we're driving, we're working on computers, we're on our phones. So really to improve our alignment, meaning to really get to a place where we have this nice straight line from the top of our head out through our heels, we need to develop and utilize and engage the glutes and the core correctly. So when we talk about incorporating or utilizing, targeting the glutes, it's really important to keep in mind that any movement, any exercise that you're going to be doing that specifically targets the glutes needs to be done through the heel. So the way that the way our body mechanics work is that anytime we put weight in our heel, we drive, or say we do a squat, and we drive our weight down into our heel. That is going to send that movement upwards to the glute. You'll notice you can practice this yourself just so you see the difference. If you switch to putting that movement or your weight in the ball of your feet, so the front of your foot, and you do that same squat motion, you'll notice that you'll start to lean forward, which again will start to put strain on your lower back, but also you'll feel it more in your quads, right? And your quads, not that our quads shouldn't be strong, but our quads do not have the same purpose and role, strength and power and endurance, as the glutes. So it's very, very important to keep that in mind, that anytime we're doing any sort of, really ideally, we should all kind of be sinking back into our heels all the time, right? Grounding ourselves in our heels, keeping the lower abdominals pulled in to promote proper body mechanics, to alleviate knee pain, back pain, to even breathe easier, right? Because it drops our chest open, meaning we sort of expand our lung capacity. Anytime, we're standing, those are good, good reminders to just implement. So standing, right, your weight is in your heels, your weight's in your heels, that's always gonna send the movement up to your glute. And then your belly button is just pulled in gently towards your spine. So that's those are the foundations that we're gonna kind of work from. That's really what is at the center of how I train people, and it's incredibly effective for helping promote all types of injury prevention, and also just alleviating a lot of problematic issues that people struggle with, like knee pain and back pain. Learning how and why to develop those muscle groups is going to really help you achieve more strength, more power, and keep things in alignment no matter what type of exercise you're doing. So next we'll move on to some more dynamic warm-ups, range of motion, mobility. So